We are back. We are in Paul'n'Skill Lake in northern New Jersey. We have been here for the last couple months. The client had a really unique problem where they had this stone cliff behind their house and they had no access down to the lake. So we had to come in, get a set of stairs engineered to span the cliff, and then there was an old set of stairs that somebody had built a long time ago that was in extremely poor repair. I'll leave it at that. It wasn't even usable. It was actually dangerous. And we went ahead and rebuilt that using additional stones that we sourced from the property. And the result is something that blew the client away. All in all, it was a fun project. We always love working on lakefront communities. This was a ton of fun, and we are extremely happy to share it with you. So enjoy. Can you tell me a little bit about the journey you've had with this house?
So we've done a bunch of things to the house, and then we looked to redo some of the things outside. And I did a lot of research, and I was looking for someone to do steps, like stone steps, down to the lake and redo that whole area. And after watching a lot of videos and seeing what your work on your website, I gave you a call to do a quote to see what you could do for us to create a workable staircase down to the lake. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. When you found us initially, did you realize we were so close to your location?
That was part of it, but really I was more concerned about like what kind of work you did. I didn't want anything prefab. I wanted to look natural, and a lot of local people do a lot of concrete pavers and different things like that, and I didn't want that look. So it was more important the look you did. I looked at a bunch of your properties, and like I told you, some of them were not my personal style, but you did an amazing job. So if I went to a friend's house and they did that, I would have been like very, very much impressed. So there was few properties that had the look that I wanted that you did. So then I decided to move forward. I talked to my husband, and he was like, whatever you want. So
that's good.
We went forward.
But we said we wanted to keep, maintain a more natural look, which you guys did exactly. So that's, that's what we wanted. And just repurposing like what we already had was exactly what we wanted. So it was awesome.
That's
I
good.
kind of wanted it to look like it was always there. I didn't want it to look like it was a contrived setting. Yeah. So it definitely met that mark. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, and your property has this cliff behind it, right? So, yeah, and the house is made out of stone, probably sourced from nearby. So, I think that's important to maintain that aesthetic. And you were given the material, you just had to go out in the woods and get it.
Right,
So,
well, you had.
so well, we had to go out in the woods and get it, but yeah, but it's all good. When you were. So you didn't right away realize that you needed a staircase going down. You had lived with the hill that was behind for quite a while.
Trail. So it wasn't the safest, and we have a lot of family over with kids and like my parents and my aunts and uncles and people. So when we go out there and float or take out the kayaks, it used to be a little much coming back up. Especially.
Or even just with inclement weather in general.
Yeah, if it rained, because muddy.
Bad rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we knew it needed to get done. It just wasn't a top priority when we bought the house. It was not the first thing we did, because we could get down there.
Yeah, we were fine.
But yeah, it was
but
definitely.
Even as we get older now, it's gonna be
It was
something
definitely
to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, we were here earlier in the year, and it was freezing at night, and during the day it would thaw out, and we had a window of time to basically move whatever we needed to move throughout the property in the morning, because by the time the sun started hitting it, it turned into an ice skating rink.
Yes.
Until it dried out, and now it's almost the opposite problem, where aside from the rain we had last weekend, it's pretty dry back there. But you have this really wonderful setting because you have so many mature trees around it that keeps the house cool, but also keeps the area protected.
Yep.
So it's a really great setting for what you have here. And it wasn't an easy job. It was, you have like 50 vertical feet, I think is what we measured from the dock down below to the backyard here. So it wound up being, I think we used about 90 stairs to get from the bottom to the top, which is a lot. Most homes don't have that many. Most that we work on have 12, 20, something like that.
It's a cliff.
Yeah.
So it was important to get it right. Even the layout and the elevations, because the last thing you want is to build a staircase to nowhere.
Yeah.
And the steepness too. It was originally very steep, but you guys managed to like make it less steep, like as we go down, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it certainly seems that way.
it's more manageable to get up. I mean, it's still a lot of stairs. It's always going to be a lot of stairs because it's a cliff, but it's manageable. It's not so much a short step here and a really giant step there. So you evened it all out, so it's pretty even keel. And then you created like a nice little area where I could put a bench at the bottom of the second group of stairs, and it's kind of curved a little bit, so it's really it's fantastic.
What challenges did you come across while you were trying to figure out what the right solution was for you?
Well, at first we thought maybe take the metal steps directly off the cliff in a different spot. And then when I talked to the engineer that came in, it just sounded like so much metal and it would cover the rock face, which I like. So we did a step back and kind of asked like, what are the other options? And that's when you guys suggested just doing one set of like a staircase just off the cliffside and then do the stone steps. So most of it is stone steps, but we have one like section that is metal with the polywood staircase. So the other challenge was wood around here gets like eaten up very quickly and it rots very quickly, so I didn't want to do wood steps. I see a lot of neighboring properties have issues with wood steps, so that was when I did, like, that's one thing I wanted, stone and then something prefab so it wouldn't rot.
Yeah, from the maintenance perspective, the longevity of the maintenance.
Yeah.
Because the wood, even if you use a pressure treated wood in the environment that's back there, it would get really slimy very, very quickly.
And it happens on the deck here that's wood. Right. So we've had it redone like once and it needs to get done again. So I didn't really want that upkeep. So that was one of the things of like doing wood upkeep. I didn't want to have to hire someone every couple of years to come out and fix it. So.
Right. Yeah. So ease of maintenance was important. Yeah, for sure. So I understand what you're saying. A lot of times people would build staircases out of railroad ties, pressure treated lumber, things like that. But this environment, it just doesn't work that well. And also
as a long-term plan, it doesn't.
As a long-term plan, right? Yeah. So you take the time to plan it and create it initially, and it'll pay back dividends over time.
Yeah.
And the price of wood's come up so much too that it's not really a cost savings to do it that way as well. So yeah, I would say it's a more sustainable approach the way you went. So
yeah,
good. What else? How was your experience?
So fantastic. I was really not involved whatsoever. I gave you the vision of what I oversaw. I sent you some pictures. That was a big plus for me because I wasn't always here all the time to make sure it was going in a direction that I wanted, and that actually came out even better than I expected. So you made it look exactly how I had envisioned it, and like the pictures I showed you of the feel I wanted, you kind of just took it and ran. So that was a huge plus because a lot of times you need to like be checking to make sure whatever work is being done to whatever standard that you have. So I appreciated that very much. It was a huge plus working with you guys. So.
Oh. Well, I appreciate it. And we enjoy having the space to be creative as well. But also being super transparent in the beginning about what the expectations are is really helpful too. So it's kind of that balancing act of finding the right amount of space and responsibility to be able to do what needs to be done, but also having enough clarity in the direction of how the final product should look and perform and stuff like that helps guide us along
Well, I
the way.
don't do stonework, so I couldn't tell you exactly how to design it, but I had a vision in mind of what I kind of wanted it to look like, and you got that and then made it happen. So that's what I appreciate. And then it got done pretty quickly in comparison to you always add time. Like if you said it'd be done before Memorial Day, I'm thinking, well, okay. Within a month of that,
We never wondered where the progress was, because you could always see progress very quickly, and very each week it was just okay, this is new, and it was just a very easy process. We never had to wonder about how the project was going. We knew everything was progressing well. So
yeah, and it was looking better and better.
Yeah, exactly. As it looked better, we're okay. Yeah.
And it looks much different from up here than it does down by the lake. When you're coming from the lake, it looks quite a bit more substantial. When you're looking at it from an elevated view from up here, you don't really notice quite. I mean, you might notice it because you lived it, but you don't quite notice how much of a transformation.
Yeah, when you're down at the bottom and you look up, you really realize it. You can't tell so much from here because it's just looking down and it looks flat, but.
Yeah, be more the reactions from our family, and they'll be like, "Oh my," because they saw it before, and now they're gonna say "What?" It's complete turnaround. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, how is that going to improve how your property gets used when you have guests over?
Everybody's going to feel a little more safe. I think that certain family members will let the kids here by themselves.
And we'll feel fine just telling the kids they can go down by the lake. They can't go in the water without us, but they can go down by the lake if they want to. Yeah, it's fine now.
Sure.
Just don't go in it.
As adults, we've turfed it. There's been several adults that fell at different times before you redid the steps. So I'm not really concerned about that anymore. And then the railings now, we have railings on the side. So I think that's a huge plus, just as a guide as well. So it looks fantastic. We'll be able to get down there and back up much easier without concern for safety. I know last year my dad hurt himself down there, so.
And that's a tough place to get to too. So you want to make sure it's safe, because it's not easy to get medical care down there if something serious were to happen. For sure.
I know some of our neighbors are older and they wouldn't even go down there at all. So they actually did the other day. Greg took down one of our older neighbors because she wanted to see what was done. But when I went to show her, she was not going to go down there before we had it done. So it's cool.
It was scary for us in the beginning, having to carry down materials and stuff. Like I said, depending on the day and how slippery it was. But
I know, because I tried to go down there when you guys were working, and I'm like, Greg was like, please don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself.
Not worth the trouble.
Yeah.
And then at the end where the cliff is, I mean, I'm sure we could have figured out how to build a stone staircase up there, but it would have been like the wall of a house. It would have been a monumental project to build something, because the cliff itself wouldn't have held it because of the trees that are there.
Yeah.
So even if we were to build something in that, what was the old goat path, because of the mature trees that are there, it would have been very short-lived.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to even try, because I figured the trees are going to grow and you don't know which direction they're going to grow. They actually could have grown towards that path instead of away from it. We have a tree growing through our deck here, and it only grows on one side. So when we make the hole bigger, it's not just a round hole, it's one-sided, getting bigger and bigger. So I thought of that when we were looking at what to do with that path. It's I don't know what direction. If the tree is going to grow into the wall, then it makes the path even more narrow. It was already narrow enough to begin with. So you can't even see those stair steps from the water. That was the other thing. They're kind of behind, so you don't see the fabricated. You only really see the stone steps from the bottom, which was important. So.
And even from up here in the backyard, you really only see the landing up top, because it's kind of tucked into the cliff and behind the trees. But it was cool. It was cool how it came together. We had a few hands that got involved with that. I mean, obviously we were involved. The engineer was involved. We had to get some topographical surveys to get the elevations right. And, like you said earlier, we originally started with a much bigger concept for steel stairs going down. And, wound up with asking the question of how can we safely get down this cliff without building a monstrosity.
Yeah, that's what it was sounding like when was talking to the one engineer, I was like, he was telling me how much metal you would see, and I just didn't want to look up at metal from the lake. So that's when the idea came. I don't know if it from you guys or from him to like just do that one area. So it was just a small section of steel. So
Yeah, and that's good because you got the trees there, you got some water runs through there, so I think that was the right approach there. I dig the stainless steel cable that got put in. You know, keeps it from being standing out visually. So and it gives it a nice balance between like, you know, man-made and just kind of your transition to nature. When you walk down the stairs, you really enter into this scene of being in the woods, and it's really cool. So.
Looks fantastic.
But it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to work here and you know, help you guys restore safety to the backyard. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It came out even better than
Truly.
we even thought it could, because we didn't know, based on the terrain, what could actually be done. And when I said stone steps, we knew we couldn't bring any stone in. So it was like, I didn't know that there was that much stone already there, and you guys kind of found it. So I appreciate it. You did a really good job.
Yeah. The joke we have is that you can't build anything else. We used up all the good stone.
That's good. Well, we're not building anything else anytime soon down there. So.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. When you're ready to start your next substantial outdoor living project, go ahead and click right here to get started. Don't forget to click over here if you want to watch Sierra's next video. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos and valuable content. Thanks for watching.